Hi, this is Dr. Barry Horowitz, one of the co-directors of the Metabolic Research Institute in West Palm Beach, Florida. As a practicing endocrinologist for over 20 years and someone who's been involved in doing clinical trials for almost that amount of time, I often get asked the question by patients, why should I participate in clinical research? And it's a very good question. I come from a very academic background, having trained at major medical centers in New York, Columbia Presbyterian Medical Center, and many of my colleagues have the same type of background. So during our training, we were involved in research either on a basic science level or a clinical level, and we have a lot of experience. I can think of several reasons as to why a patient might want to get involved in clinical research. The first is that a patient would be able to potentially get medication that is cutting edge and not yet available to the general public. Many of the medications that we study are not yet FDA approved, and they're going through clinical trials to get this approval. So these are medications that might be available several years down the pike that a patient might be able to get now. And many of the medications that we use every day that are FDA approved, we had been involved with at some point in clinical trial. So whether that is Lipitor for high cholesterol, or Januvia for diabetes, or other types of medications, these were all medicines that were in clinical studies and that we were able to give to our patients way before they were available to the general public. A second reason why patients may wish to be involved in clinical research is the fact that the care that one gets when doing a clinical trial is entirely free of charge. So there's no insurance, there's no fees. The sponsor or the pharmaceutical company pays for all the costs, and this would include the cost of the medications, all of the examinations and lab work that's done, any ancillary things that are needed, such as perhaps glucose meters for someone doing a diabetic trial. All of this is paid for by the pharmaceutical company. As a corollary to that, you kind of get our brains because we are the ones who run the clinical trials. And again, it doesn't cost you anything for us to oversee your care when you're doing a clinical trial. In addition, most patients will get a small stipend for their time and travel. This stipend is not meant to be an inducement to do the study, but it just recognizes the fact that you're taking time away from your life and coming in and traveling, and so you do get a small stipend. I think the third and perhaps most important reason to consider doing a clinical trial and participating would be the fact that you are playing a role in the advancement of science. Many of the medications that we study, as I said earlier, become the normal medications or the usual care for patients when they are approved. And when patients do clinical trials to get these medications improved, they are participating in that process and moving science forward. Many of our patients do express an extreme gratification for being involved in this process, and we recognize that fact. So those are some of the major reasons why you might want to consider being involved in a clinical study. And if you have any more questions about this or any of the clinical trials we're doing at the Metabolic Research Institute, you can certainly email us or give us a call. Our website is www.metabolic-institute.com, and our phone number is area code 561-802-3060.